What's your name?
I'm David King.
David?
Yes.
You're with the Army Corps?
Army Corps of Engineers, Baltimore District.
Okay. And what's your position?
I'm a geologist / geophysicist.
Okay.
And basically I'm here to do quality assurance to make sure that the contractor's performing their due diligence.
We built the system because of a need we perceived with DOE, with the Department of Defense, to help them find and map unexploded ordnance across the ranges that they have in the United States.
Just in the United States?
We actually have taken the system to Australia and Canada. Canada last year and Australia in 2008.
And tell me what it does.
It's essentially a flying metal detector. So what we're doing is detecting the metal casings that may represent potential ordnance items. We can detect infrastructure, buried pipelines, communication lines. We can find underground structures. A wide range of application.
How deep does it go?
Depends on the size of the item, but tens of feet deep if we need. We can fly over water and detect things down in water depths 15, 20 feet, depending on the size of the item.
And how close to that bottom do you need to be? How far off the ground or the water do you need to be?
We operate the system at between 1 and 2 meters above the ground, depending on the vegetation and the terrain.
Oh my gosh.
So if we've got the scrub oaks like we see here on Nantucket, we're operating just above the top of the scrub oak. But optimally, we're flying at 1 meter off the ground.
Jeez, that's some serious flying.
At about 50 to 60 miles an hour forward speed.
Oh, you're not hovering?
We don't hover. No.
You just keep going back and forth like a
Think of
sweeping?
a crop duster.
Like a crop
Just
duster.
like crop dusting. Our nav system, the navigation system on board, is essentially taken from a crop dusting system. And if we build navigation files, load them into it so that the pilot is fed the navigational information. So he's just flying lines back and forth, progressing across the site in 12-meter increments of space. Ultimately map the entire area.
And then you need GPS for that, right?
And we have multiple GPS systems within here. There's multiple antennas in the array that tell us exactly where the array is at all times relative to the items we're detecting.
Are you doing the whole island, or how much?
We're doing about 2,500 acres.
All out in Tom Nevers, though?
Yes, all of it out there.
All of it out there.
Yep.
Have you found anything?
I haven't looked at the data, so I don't know, but
I
I'm told that we are finding a number of anomalies.
Yeah.
What those are, we don't know. This system is a detection system. It doesn't discriminate between different types of items. So it could be that there are horseshoes out there. We'll detect horseshoes.
See that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This system, I should say, is one of a kind.
So who gets to keep all the, like, the rings and the gold coins, and you guys get to keep that too? Is it in the contract?
No. It should be, but it's not.
I know it.
No, it's what I was going to say is this system's one of a kind. There's not another one in the world anywhere like this system. And we've taken it, done a lot of different surveys. We've been all over the U.S.
Do you got a patent on this?
We have intellectual property. I'll just say
all
it
right.
that way. The boom structure is built from a variety of components. Some of the components are made out of fiberglass.
Okay.
All of this is hand-laid, hand-fabricated. It's a very extensive process. Parts of it are made out of carbon fiber. The front array here, this is all Kevlar. The same bullet-stopping Kevlar, this is all Kevlar on the front. And it has to do with structural rigidity and weight. Because look how far forward of the aircraft this is. You would think the way this thing is set up that it would pitch forward as it's flying. But the way we've designed this, everything is designed about the center of gravity, which is the rotor mast in the aircraft. So it flies literally level without compensating for all this being on it.
Well, originally the system was developed in the United States.
Yeah.
And it was the Canadian company, National Helicopters, that used to do the flying for them.
I see.
The equipment actually gone stateside, but they wanted to keep the flight crew because of the type of flying that we do is rather particular. So at this point, we're still utilizing the Canadian aviation crew.
So what's it like to fly that low, that fast, with something like this attached to these?
Well, it's not very typical flying, that's for sure. I certainly wouldn't recommend it to any novice pilots, but it is particular, and we're susceptible to wind. As you can see today, it looks like we could be precluded from flying due to winds. We're limited to about 15 knots, and that's off the nose. If we have any crosswind component, then it of course emphasizes the fact that we're going to have to probably suspend flight operations until the wind's more favorable.
And what's your background in helicopter flying? Are you both fixed wing and...
Fixed wing and helicopter.
You fly both?
Yeah.
And how does this compare to flying other choppers? The kind of work that you're doing?
Well, obviously with all the array system on it, it's again, susceptible to the wind. Otherwise, it's fairly stable because of the outrigging and the weight of it. It's not that prone to abrupt movements of any sort. It's lethargic, if you will. But with that being said, of course, you want it to be relatively stable that close to the ground. Have to particularly watch turnaround corners. We try to fly straight line, increase altitude, then do our turnarounds. Quite often we'll do what we call a racetrack type pattern, where we'll pick out our course and we'll just fly it around in a racetrack type.
And go short, smaller and smaller?
Yeah, well, depending on the size of the line, but that's pretty typical for the type of flying that we do. And that way it gives us a better ability to pick out targets that we can aim for, like land references, etc., to try to
match where you need to be again when you come back.
Yeah, to maximize.
Even though you're GPS, you still visually need
exactly,
to,
yeah. Because we're good for, we try to keep it within a meter, 3 feet either side. So it's best to have visual references when you're coming.
Is this
around.
a good gig? I mean, would any helicopter pilot like to be doing what you're doing, or is this?
It certainly affords me lots of travel to great places like Nantucket, for instance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, might not ever be here.
That's
so
true.
It's
Which part of Canada are you from?
I'm about 100 miles east of Toronto, a place called Trenton, which is a military base, CFB Trenton.
Very nice. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
You bet. That is so cool.